literature class, it's a very common thing.
Well, there's a reason I'm an engineering major.
2.1. The master said, "He who rules by virtue is like the pole star, which remains unmoving in its mansion while all the other stars revolve respectfully around it." We kind of thought that it was like if you are being virtuous and good in your like position in like an argument or like a topic or something like that, then you have the right to be unmoving, I guess, or like, and let everyone else kind of change what they are thinking because you're like being virtuous and good.
Yeah, I mean, just by like leading, by example. I mean, like typically people tend to follow like what they see. So I mean, usually, they see someone in a position of power who's doing bad. Typically, those who are going to do bad. But if you have someone who's practicing good things, in time, people eventually like learn like, hey, this is something we should do. So like the comparison to a pole star, like we think of like the North Star, like it's always the same place and everything is revolves around it. It's just alluding to the idea that if you practice good things, that people around you will see the good and start to do it themselves. And then you guys had another one too, 9:17.
At 9:17, the master stood by a river and said, "Everything flows like this without ceasing day and night." And I feel like this one is ambiguous and it can be interpreted in different ways. It's only one sentence, but I think the main point is that life goes on. And if you want to look at it in like an optimistic way, like even, no matter what your problem is, life is still going on, so you just have to, get up and deal with it and, just work through it.
Yeah, and I guess the answer from this one was like time never stops. I mean, like it's like a flowing river. Like a river never backs up and never stops flowing. So you gotta think of it like in a sense of time. Like time never stops. It doesn't stop for any man. So you just gotta push on and live your life. And then lastly, we have this group in the front. And they have 2:7 and 9:23.
Alright, first one we had, you said 2:7. It's it says, "Zayu asked about filial piety. The master said, nowadays people think they are dutiful sons when they feed their parents. Yet they also feed their dogs and horses unless there is respect. Where is the difference?" So I didn't 100% understand this, but I can just, from what I thought it meant, to like people and their parents, I guess, go ill or they can't take care of themselves or feed themselves or something like that. It's basically the same as, feeding their dogs, like the story said. And when it comes in retrospect of dealing with respect, it's like not really a difference, but it made it seem like they think they deserve, like, I guess, more credentials or something, since they take care of their parents, since they took care of them when they were younger. So, yeah, basically, they think they deserve a lot of credit since they take care of their parents, if they can't, feed themselves or whatever. And,
I really thought a lot of that had to do more with you feed your dog, you feed your cat, if you're feeding your parents, it really has to do with, again, the motivation behind it. You would, in hopes you would respect your parents more, and that would be, I'm doing this to honor you, to help you, because I respect you, as opposed to treating your parents like a pet, was kind of what I thought of it as.
Exactly. And then our last one, which is a 9:23.
Okay, 9:23 reads, "The master said, one should regard the young with awe. How do you know that the next generation will not equal the present one? If, however, by the age of 40 or 50, a man has not made a name for himself, he no longer deserves to be taken seriously." I think it's as simple as, by the time you're 40 or 50, you should have something to show for it, because by that age, you pretty much have really had the time to put forth the energy. You don't really have any, you probably don't have any kids really, so you've had time to put forth the energy to really do something with yourself. And if you haven't done anything with yourself by 40 and 50, you're probably not going to do anything with yourself.
Exactly.
So.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, when you're talking about that, so it kind of compare, like, not necessarily being 40 or 50, but like once you retire in the NFL or the NBA or something like that, it's like once you get to the end of your career, if you don't have no stats or you've done anything spectacular to show for it, then nobody's really going to remember you for all that time,
Tony
basically.
Gonzalez, man.
See, basically, right. So if you had, like, say, if you don't have
He's
no,
going to the Hall of Fame, yeah, but without that ring, you know.
you don't mean nothing, right, exactly. So that's basically what I thought about it.
I feel it.
Yeah, I know, like, when I first read it, I really thought of that quote by Muhammad Ali. Like, I don't know if I know it word by word, but I know he talks about, like, if a man is is 50 and, like, still has the thought process and the morals of a 20-year-old, he's missed out on 30 years of his life. So, I mean, like, we can all, like, relate to that. I mean, we've seen people who, you know, who have, I guess, maybe, like, fallen off the face of the earth or have just missed out on opportunities, and, you know, they get to this point in life where they're looking back and they're always talking about should've, could've, would've, you know. So, you know, you definitely want to, you know, just, I mean, we're all college students, so I mean, we all definitely want to take full advantage of, like, the opportunities that are in front of us, so that, you know, when we get to that age one day, we're not like, man, I should have, you know, studied harder for that test, or I should have taken school more seriously. Like, you don't ever want to get to the point where you're constantly questioning your past. Like, you definitely want to, you know, take, I don't want to say, like, you definitely want to take, you know, this a hold and, you know, just try to make the most of yourself. So with that, that wraps up all the sections that I had. I appreciate everyone's
Good job, man.
productivity and your